We're continuing to follow a very fluid situation in the hill country of Texas. After all of last week's record-setting flooding, unfortunately, some areas are being impacted by flooding yet again today. Flash flood warnings are in effect, and there's even has been, at least in the past few hours, some flash flood emergencies, especially for part of San Saba County.
The Kerr County Sheriff's Office says search and rescue operations along the Guadalupe River are suspended because of the rainfall. They've been looking for the nearly 170 people still missing, according to USA Today. Plus, at least 129 people are dead after last weekend's flooding. The governor said Friday he activated state emergency response resources ahead of the rainfall we're seeing, but this is very much still an active situation that anyone in this area needs to make sure you are staying weather aware. You have those multiple ways to get alerts so that you can act quickly if you need to.
We do want to show you what's going on right now on satellite and radar across the nation, because you can tell where those thunderstorms are in Texas. They are starting to move, drifting off towards the south, but for a while they were just hanging out overhead with some of the heavy rainfall, which is agitating areas that saw 20+ inches of rain last weekend, picking up more rain today.
Yeah, it's not the only area that we're seeing rainfall. Of course, some thunderstorms further to the north, into the northeast. This is another area we're keeping an eye on. It doesn't look like much on radar right now, but things will pick up as we head, especially into the late afternoon and the evening.
So those are the thunderstorms on the east coast. On the west coast, it's about the heat. 95 in Portland, 100 after floodwaters rushed through Camp Mystic. Many parents feared the worst. Amy Key's two young daughters, Audra and Cece, were there, but now on the north central tier of the nation, we are not talking floods, but we are getting in some dry air behind recent storms. You can see the dry air coming with the risk for more smoke and reduced air quality, unfortunately. These are all from the Canadian fires, and there are entire states that have. Tomorrow, more dry air trying to work its way in. However, what we will find is there's going to be a new storm system providing thunderstorms off towards the north and into North Dakota. That's where we'll have that risk for severe weather. It starts through the afternoon and picks up as we go into the evening and overnight hours. You can see Bismarck and Fargo weather. We'll focus on hail and isolated tornadoes, though, of course, we still have damaging wind threats with this and even some potential for flash flooding. So please make sure you're staying weather aware as we move through time. This is a look at future radar showing the storms today off towards the south, maybe overdone a little bit across Illinois.
Well, we're continuing to track the ongoing flooding situation in Texas, as we've had additional flooding in some of the same areas that were hit last weekend on Sunday. So looking at our Monday, we do have more rain in the forecast here, so more flash flooding is not out of the question. Now, part of the problem Sunday, just like it was last weekend, were the rivers, right? We saw pretty heavy rain totals, some areas getting 7, 8 inches of rainfall in the matter of a few hours throughout the morning. But then river levels rose rapidly for the Lampasas River, for example, here. And the forecast for this river through Monday, it's going to go down exit flood stage, but of course, cause some problems before it gets there. Now, overall, through the day, this is the area we're most concerned about for any additional flooding, because this is where we're going to see the most widespread thunderstorms. Now, you'll notice Kerr County, you're still in this area of concern. Kerrville still in this area of concern. So we've been saying it, and I'm sure you've already done this at this point, but just in case, a reminder, make sure you have multiple ways to be alerted to any kind of flash flood warnings, emergencies, updates from local officials, any sort of evacuations, any of that, so that you can act quickly if that ends up being needed. Let's take a look at what to expect as far as our rainfall totals. The heaviest rainfall in some of these areas in the darkest green, there's already been 8 inches of rainfall. So this is where you really got to pay attention to our AccuWeather local storm max here. 14 inches of rainfall is the top of what we are expecting could be possible here with some of the rainfall totals. But overall, 4 to 8 is what we're looking at in that darkest green shade. Elsewhere, 1 to 4. It's going to be a little bit more scattered, but we could see some of these slow-moving thunderstorms that bring some downpours and, again, lead to that additional flooding. Great tool, especially for those push notifications. You turn them on, have your location services turned on. Literally the second that a tornado watch, flash flood warning, whatever it is, any kind of alert, the second it is issued, you will get a push notification. Now, a couple of things you don't really want to rely on solely. Word of mouth, outdoor sirens, those are great if you're camping, for example, but you can't always hear them inside. A NOAA weather radio, though, that is a great backup option to make sure you get any kind of alerts.